Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon and welcome to another video. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. We are back with another tier list vote. Now I'm doing this in a slightly different way to how I normally do it. Usually when I film this video, I have already got the voting poll out you know, I'm kind of doing it alongside you guys and all that sort of stuff. However, because of my schedule this week, I've actually decided to, so that we're not missing out 2 days on the votes, you know, I'm recording this video in, you know, before the voting poll opens, and I will essentially put my votes into the poll once it's live. You're going to see how I'm going to vote, but the actual voting poll will be out today for you guys, which is Friday, and you'll be able to go to the pinned comments and find the link below, or head to our community page or Discord to find that link as well. But anyways, let's get into the voting poll, and the tier list, I should say, and go from there. Now, because of the way I'm doing this today, all of my previous votes from how I did this last time are still in here from BT20. So essentially, we're going to go in, we're going to adjust all of these ones, and then we'll add in all of our new decks from BT21. So starting off in tier 1, Fenrir OTK was in tier 1 back in BT20, but since the ban list, that has dropped significantly. I'd possibly even go as far as tier 2. It's basically relying more on the Seeker side of things. It's a lot more kind of, you know, more about swarming and less about the OTK. So I'm going to drop that down to tier 2. Then we've got Imperial. Blue-Green Imperial, I think, is still really good. I think it's still doing fantastically in most places. It didn't do as well at Worlds as we thought, and you know, it's also a deck that did get a hit on the ban list, just not one that really did much. So do I keep it in tier 1? I think I will, but I'm tentative, because if I had like a 1.75, I'd put it there, but of course that'd be stupid. So I am going to leave it in tier 1, but there is definitely an argument for it being in 1.5 now. Blue Armor, absolutely, that's staying in tier 1. All the ban list did was get rid of the yellow side of it. It's now gone full blue. We've got some new tech cards in BT21, so it's probably, you know, more powerful than ever, in a sense. This isn't Armor Rush. This is more like the Magnamon X, you know, kind of build. But both of those decks are really, really good. One being much better than the other. But yeah, I would definitely say still tier 1. Purple Hybrid, I'm actually going to drop to 1.5. The hit to Matt and to Jack's Raid both kind of help to mitigate this deck, and it's not as powerful as it was. It still can put in the work, it still put in some really good results, but I've been finding, at least from my perspective, I'm beating it way more often with decks that wouldn't have stood a chance against it in the last format. Then 7 Demon Lords, that is in tier 1 and technically got new support back in BT19 with the Blast Mode Ace and stuff like that. Is it doing that well, though? I mean, in general, decks seem to be a little bit faster. You know, when's the last time 7 Demon Lords topped? Yeah, I'm going to put it in 1.5. I think that's fair. Then the stuff that's in tier 1.5, Leviamon, I'm happy with keeping that in 1.5. Still really good. You know, does a great job. Mirage, I'm going to drop down to tier 2, because I think you could still do a good deck with Mirage and it'd be a good time, but with BT11 Mirage down to 1, that's going to be a lot harder to do. Unfortunately, there are no other Mirages that really do what BT11 did. You know, yeah, you've got the one that bounces Tamers, and this is quite a Tamer heavy format, to be fair. You've got hybrid decks around, the adventure deck is quite Tamer heavy, so you could potentially build with that in mind, and I've been tempted to try and do an updated build for Mirage post ban list. You know, so let me know if you guys want to see that. We're a little bit behind the post-ban list hype train, but you know, I've been wanting to explore it. Just been exploring other things really, but I'm going to put Mirage right down to tier 2 now. I think that's where it goes. Royal Knights, boom, tier 1. Yeah, that's still putting in so much work, and it's only going to get stronger as the year goes on. Insane deck. Gallantmon, I think I'm happy with keeping that in 1.5. It is really good. It tops a lot of tournaments. I know Sam plays Gallantmon. He tops a lot of locals with Gallantmon, and it does still do a lot of work. It's a little bit more easy to play around than Blue Armor is, but also Gallantmon kind of can get you more damage in and a little bit more value sometimes than Magnamon X can. But I think ultimately, I mean, I'd be very tempted to put it into tier 1, but I think I'm going to keep it in tier 1.5. Lord Knight. Again, I think I'm going to keep this in tier 1.5. It's not really been doing the business, and this is... one of these is purple base, and one of these is black base. Unfortunately, on this version of the tier list, the images don't render properly, so maybe I need to get back and get into making all of these so that all of their names are central for if I'm recording it like this again. But one of these is purple base, one of these is black base. I think I'm just going to keep them both in 1.5. Red, purple, Imperial Digimon. Again, this one is not doing as many big results at the moment, but I think it's still going to be in 1.5. It shuts off a lot of decks. It does really well. 3 Great Angels. We haven't really seen 3 Great Angels in a while. And its general seat as the best yellow deck has been succeeded by another deck, which will be absolutely moving up the tier list. But I think I will keep it in 1.5, I think. Do I? What are you doing that's different through Great Angels? Nothing really. I think it's still a good disc though. So I'll keep it 1.5. Ancient Garurumon. Again, this is one that's not really done a lot, but I think I'm happy to keep that in 1.5. Birds, I'm happy to keep that in 1.5. I think Birds is slept on. And if anything, it's technically a little bit stronger now with the new Garudamon from Adventure, so I think that's there. Beelzemon hasn't really done anything, but I think I'm going to keep that there as well. And then Dex Doru, did that get more support? Can't remember. But I think, again, I'm going to keep that on 1.5. So I'm keeping most of those in 1.5. That's tier 2. We've already done those ones. Galaxy. Obviously, the Galaxy Loop is kind of the main thing here we're looking at. And Galaxy Loop does still... I mean, Galaxy Loop won Worlds. It won Worlds. And it did that with only one Mirage in the deck. So actually, I think I'm going to put Galaxy Loop up. I'm not putting it into tier 1, but I'm going to put it in tier 1.5. Just because it can still have consistency issues. I mean, I beat it yesterday in testing with Adventure, you know, so I think it's still beatable because it can be a little bit slow to get rolling if it doesn't get its kind of you know, its resource pieces quick enough. But it did win Worlds, so you know, that doesn't. I don't think winning Worlds automatically makes a deck tier 1, because really, you know, there's an argument there for it from a you know, from a pilot perspective and a matchup perspective as well. So you do have to think about that. But I think, in my opinion, I think Galaxy is definitely up there a bit more after showing that performance. So I'm going to do a little median. I don't think I'm going to put it in tier 1, but I'm going to put it in tier 1.5 because of that. Omnimon, I'm happy to keep in tier 2. We'll hopefully be getting new support in BT21. But you know, we'll have to wait and see. Yellow Armor, I'm happy to keep that in BT in kind of tier 2 as well. Jesmon, same thing. Tyrant, yeah, tier 2. Vortex, tier 2. All of these kind of, none of these have really moved, I think, in my opinion. They're all still going to be in the tier 2 spot. Lucemon as well. Blue Flare. Mother Control. Now, Mother Control is technically dead because of the fact we no longer have the Shoto. So, if anything, I need to take that off the list entirely. I think you technically could still play it. This is an image I completely forgot to update, actually. So I might need to take it out of the actual vote. But so yeah, I'm going to take it out. I think I'm going to just take it. Just get you down here. Go away, Mother Control. Go down there. So that will not be on the vote for you guys. Next, Alphamon. Yeah, I think tier 2. I'm happy with that. It's well, I don't know if I am happy with that. I think, technically speaking, I think Classic Alphamon might be better than the Chronicle deck. From back when I tested it, Chronicle was really, like, inconsistent. So I think I'm still happy to keep that in tier 2. But yeah, technically, I think the new the old Alphamon stuff is better. Emperor Hybrid, I'm happy to keep that in tier 2. I don't think it's Rogue tier or anything like that. I think that's too strong. Merva as well. Mineral and Bunnies. Yeah, that's all can stay in there. Chaosmon Axel. I'd be very tempted to put it up here just because I've done quite well with it. But again, that it could be a, not to blow my own trumpet, a pilot thing and a matchup thing. You know, so I think I'm going to keep that in tier 2. Dynamon, I think, also going to stay in tier 2. It's not really gotten any new support, but I think it's still, you know, fairly strong. Lilith, same thing. Ice Snow, same thing. War Greymon. Okay, so War Greymon does technically get new support in kind of BT21. Obviously, we've got stuff in the structure deck we can use. We've got stuff from, you know, for like the promo War Greymon. So I think that's definitely still gonna be like tier 2. I don't think that's really gone up much, but obviously still noticeable. We've got that support. Setcon tier 2, yeah, that's gonna stay there because Setcon will always be Setcon. It will just do Setcon things. Pulse 1 OTK. I loved this deck. I love this deck so much. But with the Fenrir down to 1, you can't really pull it off anymore. So I'm going to drop that down to Rogue because you can't really do that anymore. I'm going to put it right where Pulsemon tried, because really, now that this version of the deck is dead, and I don't even know how many people have played this version of the deck other than me, you know, you're probably just going to play normal Pulsemon instead. Seekers, yeah, happy to keep that in tier 2. Diaboromon is due to get new support. It hasn't really done anything recently. I think controversial take, I might drop it down to Rogue tier. Do I though? Yeah, I'm gonna drop it down to Rogue tier. Screw it. Why not? It's my list. My list. And this will absolutely not be what the final tier list looks like anyway, because you guys are all going to vote on it. So, Deep Savers, I'm happy to keep that in tier 2. Numamon as well, tier 2. Neither of those have really gotten new support. Bloom Lord, technically you've got new plant support from Adventure. I don't know if you're really going to use it though, because it's all very adventure centered, so that's not really moved anywhere in my opinion. Beelstar, same thing, not really moved anywhere. Melga does get some new tools and can utilize it, so you can utilize the Metal Garurumon Ace from the structure deck. You can use the Alliance Wear Garurumon, so I think that is going to be pretty cool, but not enough to move it up the tier list, I don't think. Sakuyamon Tribal. Now, you might have noticed I've taken Talmon Loop off of the list because that deck is just dead with the Kazuhamon being at 1. You know, you could play it still, but you're not going to. But Sakuyamon is better than I thought it would be. It did really well at Worlds. It came 3rd place. And I think I'm in that kind of mindset. I'm moving it up to tier 1.5 because it is clearly better than I thought it would be. And quite clearly, I think to me, is now the best yellow deck in the format. I mean, we're not seeing 3 Great Angels as much. I mean, we don't know for sure if it is truly better than 3 Great Angels, but I would say because of the memory looping it's doing, this really efficient, quick gameplay that it can just dish out, I think it's now the best yellow deck in the format. You know, I don't know if you guys agree with that, and let me know in the comments if you do, or don't, you know, but that's where I'm feeling. 4 Sovereigns, I don't think that's changed at all. I'd keep that in tier 2. Blackwall Greymon as well is getting support later in the year, but I would say it's at the moment we're still keeping it in tier 2 despite some new support, like the Greymon is actually pretty good for it, forcing them to attack in. You've got the Gaiomon, the new Gaiomon promo as well, but I think ultimately that's still sticking around tier 2. Then going into Rogue tier, Ogubond does technically get new support with the structure deck Ogumon, technically with War Greymon Ace as well. Do we keep it here? I mean, who's playing Ogubond, right? I mean, I'm tempted to play, if it is legal for Jank Tank 10, I'm tempted to play Ogubond just because, like, it's the 10th Jank Tank tourney, and Ogubond was the very first Jank Tank deck that I played, way back in our first Jank Tank. So if it is legal, then I want to play it. So with no bias at all saying that, I'm keeping it in Rogue tier. There's no bias, I swear. Greymon Toolbox, I'm going to jump up to tier 2. In my opinion, that should have been in tier 2 anyway. Unless, I'm pretty sure I voted it in here. But, or it could be, is this, I can't remember if this is the final list from the voting poll, or if this is the, or this was the you know, my particular votes. I actually can't remember. But Greymon Toolbox, I think, with the new tools we get from like the War Greymon Ace, and you know, we've got a little bit more variety. I mean, there's so many ways you can play Greymon. So I think tier 2 is where I'm going to put that. Leopardmon, I think I'm going to keep that in Rogue tier. Of course, in the general grand scheme of the game, you can play out Medieval Gallimon really easy in this deck. In Jank Tank, which this tier list does affect, you can't play Medieval Gallimon because we banned it from that format. But I think in general, Leopardmon, I think is going to stay right there in Rogue tier. Legend Arms, I think again that's going to stay right there in Rogue tier. Not really changed at all. Leomon, same thing. You know, what's really changed there? Necromon, I'd be tempted to bump up, just because I know it could dish out things way better than I thought it could. I mean, I have struggled against it with certain decks, to be fair. I think... No, I'll leave it in rogue tier. Seadra, I think I'm going to bump it to tier 2. I think that is better than we thought it would be. Obviously, it did actually come... it did fall short in the last Jank Tank we did. But I think in general, it does really well. I know Sam, literally as of last night, came... second in a locals down at Stevenage, so with Seadramon. So I think it's better than people give it credit for, and definitely pretty cool. Then who's next? Ulforce, that's not really changed at all. Will be getting new support at BT22, but for the time being, I'd keep that in rogue tier. Cherubi, same thing, nothing really changed there. I'd keep that in rogue tier. Gabumon technically has got new support with the Gabumon from the structure deck, but I think if I keep an Ogibond in rogue tier, I'd keep Gabumon in rogue tier. Magna Hybrid, nothing really changed there. Very piece dependent. Used a lot of the purple hybrid engine, which the purple hybrid engine isn't as good as it was, but it wasn't really using, the stuff in purple hybrid that made purple hybrid good. Yeah, I'll keep that right here. Mastodon does get a new promo. I can't off the top of my head remember what that promo does, but I don't think it overall changes how good the deck is, so I think we'll keep that in rogue tier. Milif, I think we'll keep that in rogue tier as well. Zhangpeng, again, and Ryugu, they kind of fall under the same umbrella, let's be honest. So I think we're going to keep those in rogue tier. Not really made that many changes there. I think they get one card of support in BT21. Gaiomon does get the new promo card, but it doesn't really fit within the Gaiomon or the previous Gaiomon deck strategy, because the new Gaiomon is very defensive, whereas the old ones are a little bit more aggressive and kind of more of an OTK kind of style. So I would say I'd keep that in rogue tier as well. Millenniummon, again, I'd keep that in rogue tier. Nothing really changed there. D-Brigade, same thing. Pulsemon, I kind of made this argument already earlier. I think I'd keep that in rogue tier. Three Musketeers does get new support with the Atmon stuff, and it is pretty good. So I'm actually going to bump that up. I'm going to bump that up to tier 2. I think Three Musketeers is kind of beyond rogue tier with the new support. We've got the Black Hybrid next, which technically speaking, this can still do mother control shenanigans, because the Mercurymon, the old one from BT12, can actually give blocker to any Digimon, including the mother. Only lasts for a while, so it's not as good as Shoto was. But I would say stick that in rogue tier. Machine Dramon, I would keep in rogue tier as well, even though it's got the new Cyber Dramon, which gives that 4000 DP. It's always kind of getting soft support in the form of loads of cyborg stuff. But I would keep it in rogue tier just because it's still a little bit slow. Alphamon, like I said, I think technically old Alphamon is better than Chronicle. So I'm actually going to bump Alphamon up beyond Chronicle, and kind of do that. Source Strip, so kind of the Vikemon stuff, technically does get the new promo, and Sam reckons he's cooked with this, but I think I'm going to keep it some rogue tier. I think it's still going to be a little bit kind of underpowered. Central, obviously we've seen how well the Puppet Engine can do. With the Gankumon Rush deck that Dan won the last Jank Tank with. But I think in general, though that engine is spectacular, the top end for it needs work, because it just doesn't have enough, it doesn't have enough of the hallmarks of like a broken deck. It doesn't have enough protection, despite the inheritables. Maybe, I don't know. Nah, I'm gonna put it to tier 2. Screw it. It's my list. I'll do what I like. Where were we next? Black War Greymon OTK, I think that's going to stay right in rogue tier. That's not really changed at all. In EX9 could be a bit different, because we're going to get the black-red Metal Greymon that gives Sec +1. So that could be interesting. We do technically already have a level 5 Metal Greymon that gives Sec +1 though, so I don't know if that's really going to change things. But I'll keep Black War Greymon OTK in rogue tier. Who knows? Maybe I'll play that for Jank Tank 10. Let me know if you guys have ideas for decks I should play in Jank Tank 10. Let me know. Obviously, it depends on what's legal, but let me know. D-Links, keeping that in rogue tier. Dan won't know what to do if that comes out of rogue tier at all. Dorbicmon, I'd keep that in rogue tier. Sylphimon is kind of crazy, actually. I remember Digidane, I was having a chat with him about kind of stuff, and he showed me a picture of what he's managed to do with Sylphimon, and it was just this mega stack that literally reached from his end of the board halfway up the opponent's side of the board, and it was insane. Charles has also built Sylphimon and has done some bonkers stuff with it. I think it is very piece dependent though, so I think I'm going to keep it in Rogue tier. I'm basically keeping a lot of my votes the same. Let's be honest. Dark Masters, yeah, I'll keep that in Rogue tier. Nature Spirits as well. Omnimon. Basically, most of these we can just keep in Rogue tier, I'll be honest. Nightmare Soldiers technically shouldn't be here because of the fact that it is a previous Jank Tank winner, so technically it should not be on the list at all. So, yay! Off it goes. Jank Tank winner for this year, of course. So I'll take that off. But yeah, I think Dark Masters, Nature Spirits, Omnimon, Dynasmon, Eosmon, Kentaurus, Shakamon, Shakuomon, Bagra, all of this can stay in... no, Bagra I'm going to put in Jank. Yeah, fuck you, Bagra. Unnecessarily mean, but whatever. My list. But yeah, no, I keep all of these in Rogue. Sukamon. Heavy Metal is so piece dependent. I'm putting that in Jank, actually. Rosemon. Yeah, keep there. Yellow Lord Knight. I still think it'd be really interesting to experiment with this one, and because it could do stuff like playing out Valkyremon Ace for free, so I think I'm going to keep that there. Chessmon, I know that could do pretty well, so we'll keep that right there as well. Jellymon. Marsmon, I love Marsmon. I'd love to whack out Marsmon again. I'm going to keep that in... I mean, I love you, Marsmon, but I'm going to put you in Jank tier. Sorry, buddy. Myotismon, keep that there. Yellow Hybrid. Chaos Gallant technically does get new support from BT21, which technically is kind of its own deck, and we'll discuss that. So I'll keep that in Rogue tier, and obviously Pulsemon OTK. Green Gacha, that's staying in Jank tier, as much as it can do some crazy shenanigans like playing out Zafargamon Ace. It didn't really get any new support from BT21 though. So, you know, unless you want to play Puppetmon, I guess. So yeah, keep that there. Barbamon staying there. Grey Knights is staying there. Reaper, yeah. Argomon, Fortitude, 4 Great Angels, Angora, Jumbo, Mame, Taita, Ravemon, Royal Base. Royal Base does get a new option, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I'll put Royal Base up there. Why not? It's only one option. Probably doesn't change the deck that much, but Trains. Yep, so all of this can stay in Jank tier. There we go. So now that we've kind of gone through all of that, let's put the new stuff in, and we'll see where we're... Rude. Sorry, I hit my keyboard. And we'll see where we're at. So, first of all, Adventure. Adventure, I think, is going right on up to tier 1.5. I think it does some crazy stuff. It is very piece dependent. You know, it's got to get its sequences and its combos in the right order, but it's so good. I mean, I've beaten a lot of these decks that are in the tier 1 and tier 1.5 range with Adventure, so I think it hangs with the big boys, no problem, which is incredibly impressive for a deck that is just basically structure decks, you know. So if anything, get those structure decks, guys, if you want a really easy deck to kind of, you know, do great numbers with. Appmon, I think, is really piece dependent, so I think I'm going to put that in tier 2. I think the things it can do with all of the linking, all the kind of advantage you can get through your linking, I think means I'm going to keep it there in tier 2. I don't think it's good enough to go to tier 1 or tier 1.5, but definitely I think tier 2 is there. Examon does get some new support. It is quite strong because it gets an end of 10 DNA now. The Examon does X-Antibody does quite a lot, so I think I'm going to put that in tier 2. Because I think there's a lot of these decks down here in the Rogue and Jank tier can't deal with what Examon's doing. So I think personally I'm going to keep that in tier 2. But obviously if it ends up in Rogue tier or below, it will still be legal for Jank Tank. But personally for me, I think it's tier 2 worthy. Funny enough, my argument for Seadramon, in which I put this here because it came second at a locals yesterday, Examon came first at that locals from what I've been told. I wasn't actually there. So yeah, Examon is going there. Galacticmon is way better than... Sorry, I've dropped it somewhere. Oh, where'd it go? Galacticmon! Where'd Galacticmon go? Oh god, where's Galacticmon gone? I've dropped I've dropped Galacticmon. I found him, guys. I found Galacticmon. I'm actually going to put this in 1.5. I think it has been doing some results in places. It's got a lot of protection. It could do a hell of a lot of checks with Ragnarok Cannon. Sorry, my mouse and keyboard disconnected then. Yeah, I think I'm going to put that in tier 1.5. I think that's actually really, really good. Gamamon does get some new support, and it is quite good support. So I'm going to bump that up to tier 2. I think this is actually really good. The new Gamamon especially, because I've been playing it in Heroes, is phenomenal. I think it's really, really fun. So I'm going to put Gamamon into tier 2. Of course, if it does end up lower than that, then that's all good. Speaking of lower than that, Hero is a mess. I did a video on it earlier this week. It's so messy. The synergy is really hard. You know, it's got so many tricks. It's got so many tricks. You'd think it'd be like tier 1, tier 1.5, but it's just so hard to balance. I've come up with a new list since making that video, and it seems to be working better for me. To the point, I'm not going to put it in Jank tier. I'm going to put it in Rogue, because I think with the right build and the right pilot, it can take people by surprise. You basically, this is kind of a little, look into how I've been building it and stuff like that. But I think because of the way it works, you kind of need to think about it in an opposite way. Your tamers are obviously your resource gatherers, but you need to focus on building up your tamers before you can do stuff, and then use your warping mechanics to actually catch up later on. So I think it's a Rogue tier deck. It's, in my testing so far with the new list I've done, it has only dropped a game. Granted, that's testing at home and not against another player. But yeah, it's really messy. So if you guys voted it into Jank tier, I would not blame you at all. Because it is a mess. But I'm actually going to put it into Rogue tier because I think it can do some cool stuff. Hunters, speaking of cool stuff with new support, I'm putting that in tier 2. I think that's bumped back up for me. I think originally I voted it on Rogue tier in the last ban list, but tier list, sorry. But I think that's better now with the new support. The Tagiru is really good. The new Arrested Dramon is basically, it can get bigger than a level 7, at least in Heroes. So it's a huge dude that can attack twice. So I think definitely going to keep that in tier 2. Justimon, I think, although it got new support in BT20 and with this promo that I've used for the image, I think I'm going to put it in Rogue tier. It's very piece dependent. It's really piece dependent. So yeah. Medusamon. Now I freaking love this deck. I think it's really good. It's not going in Rogue tier. It's either a tier 1.5 or a tier 2 for me. I'm gonna go tier 2. Just because it can do a lot of damage, it can do a lot of checks, does a lot of control stuff, but there are so many decks with protection that can get around that. Like if it goes up against Magnamon X or Galactic or Adventure with the right setup, it's just not going to do anything. So I think tier 2, high tier 2, but tier 2. Megidramon. Now this is the deck we kind of talked about with Chaos Gallantmon, and I think the two of them are kind of intrinsically linked, so I'm tempted to put them here together in Rogue tier, but I also know that this can do a board wipe on its own. So it is pretty strong. But yeah, I'll put it in Rogue tier. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? It wins Jank Tank 10. Red Hybrid, that's going right up to 1.5. I think that's still really good. There's an argument for it to be tier 1, I think, with the new support. But for now, I'm going to put it in tier 1.5. It's really good. Arguably the best red deck of the format, along with Gallantmon. Really, really good. Then Shine Grey, that does get new support. I think I'm going to bump that to tier 2. I don't think it's quite... The support's kind of quite got the oomph that you want from new support, but I think tier 2 is a fair place to put it. Wind Guardians, Jank. That's the easiest one on this entire list. It's an incomplete deck. It doesn't have a level 7. Yes, it's got we've got loads of jamming, and we've got Vortex, and we've got all of this stuff, guys. It's really cool. It's pack filler. It's just pack filler. It's just in there. Raikara in the comments of the Heroes. Was it the Heroes or the Adventure? It was in the comments of one of the videos. Wind Guardians is literally pack filler. It's in there just to be the blue and green slots. And until it has a completed top line, I don't think it'll ever be any good. Crossheart, I think that is going to go up to the top of tier 2. The new support is pretty cool. It's, you know, competent. Obviously, got support back in BT19. I think that's a tier 2 deck. And then the last two are Nightmare Soldiers and Mother Control. So that is all of my votes. So I need to remember this and make notes of this so that I can actually add this to the official vote that will come out on Friday or today for you guys. But that is how I voted. You know, tell me, do you guys agree with my votes? Do you not agree with my votes? How will you guys vote? You know, do make sure as well, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the video, and I'll make sure to put this in the comment section. Make sure you are logged in to the Tier Maker website, to make sure your votes count. Otherwise they will not. So do make sure you've done that, guys. Yeah, that is the tier list. This was a much quicker way of doing it. I think mainly because I've just kind of gone, most of my votes are the same. I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of them have changed. You know, there's no sense in me talking about, you know, the nuances of bloody, I don't know, Four Sovereigns, which hasn't had support since EX5. You know, but yeah, this is, I think, where I'm standing with it. Let me know how you guys are going to vote, and do make sure to click on that vote and get voting to see what the tier list will be for our BT21 format, and ultimately what will be our legal decks for Jank Tank 10 when we do that. But for the meantime, guys, like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on the latest content from the channel, and we will see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.